My name, for those of us who just joined, is Debra Duneier. I'm president and founder of a company called EcoChi. We are an architectural interior design company with a very, very unique focus of wellness, but wellness that's based on three core principles. Once again, that is green and sustainability, Feng Shui and other ancient wisdoms of design, and environmental psychology. So it's all about creating a desired experience in an interior space. My work at the Park Loggia, I was hired specifically to come in and consult on the experience based on Feng Shui and environmental psychology when it came to selecting artwork. And so we're going to have a little bit of an introduction here together to what Feng Shui is and how these basic ideas were actually used at the Park Loggia when selecting the artwork. So Feng Shui, what is it? I remember when I was in real estate, over a decade ago, somebody mentioned Feng Shui to me. It was like, well, I guess it's about moving furniture around, I really didn't understand it until I studied with 5 different masters. I also did training with a Taoist priest. So it's a really, really interesting kind of background. But as people in real estate and people that love real estate, there are certain spaces that you walk into and you automatically feel really comfortable there. There are 5 schools of Feng Shui approximately, one of them is really the base of all practices of Feng Shui. In other words, if you get that wrong, you've got the whole Feng Shui wrong. You really have to get this right. And one of those premises is called the red bird or the rising phoenix. Red bird, what could that possibly mean? Well, it means what you're looking at is really projecting your future. Now, this is a really, really fabulous thing to know. And I'm going to tell you a little story about that. But before we do that, let's take a look at the Park Loggia. And here we go, right here. And you can see that this beautiful entrance on the left-hand side of that door is actually a sculpture. It kind of waves and moves almost like water, right? So the sculpture is done by Brad Howe. He's an artist that is out of California. Very, very talented artist, as you can see. But what was the premise behind this? What you see is what you get. That's really what the red bird is all about. That is the rising phoenix. That is the future. That is your life. And so I took that principle and I said, when people pull up to the Park Loggia, what does that future feel like? What do you want them to have? And working with the team and with the artist, I decided that the plant that means prosperity and abundance in Feng Shui is the jade plant. And the jade plant has these very, very soft, puffy leaves, all full of water. And the shapes that we incorporated into this sculpture is actually the shape of a tree. So let's think about this for a second. To have these soft kind of shapes and leaves, leaf-like sculpture would be a symbol of prosperity, a symbol of health, of a good life, of abundance, of luxury. But what would even make this more enhanced would be to take this sculpture and actually create a water feature out of that. In Feng Shui, a water feature is a symbol of prosperity and also life force. This is an incredible energy that just really pushes right up and flows like life itself and brings in an amazing feeling of prosperity. So that is a little bit of the background on how we kind of created the concept for the artist Brad Howe on this amazing sculpture. Take a walk over to the Park Loggia and see this beautiful sculpture and see how it inspires you and what that feels like. So I was talking about what you see is what you get. So what can you do right now in this moment where a lot of us are at home or isolated somewhere, and sometimes we're a little down. I would say that most people at best are going through some kind of roller coaster because we're living a life that we've never expected before. So how can we take things in our interior spaces and actually use them to support us during this very, very challenging time? So there was a client that called me in. Her name was Kimberly, and she lived in Manhattan. She was very, very high powered. And she came to me and she said, you know, I really want to do some things in my apartment. I live in Manhattan. Would you come and visit and see if you can help me? But as it usually happens, if I come and visit someone, slowly but surely, I get the story. I get the real reason why I'm being called in. And so I looked at her living room area and her kitchen and, you know, made some suggestions and talked about some ideas of how we might change things and create a better chi flow, an energy flow that would be healthier and more supportive. And then she said to me, you know, Deborah, she said, I have been in a relationship for about 7 years. And my biology is telling me it's time to start a family. And this guy, he's just not popping the question. I don't know if he's ever going to, you know, want to get married. And I'm running out of time. And this is something that I really want. So I said, I went to the side of her bed where her pillow was to see what she faces. What is her red bird? What is her rising phoenix? What is her future? What is she looking at? Every morning when she wakes up and every single night when she goes to bed, what is that she sees? Now, I told you already, she's a very high-powered broker, very, very high-powered business person, and she had a lot of friends that were artists, and she had beautiful art throughout the apartment. And in her bedroom, right opposite where she sleeps, against and on the wall, installed on the wall that she looks at, was a painting of a woman sitting down, looking down at a phone, waiting and waiting and waiting for it to ring. And I said to her, this is your red bird. This is your rising phoenix. What you see on this wall and what you look at is what you're bringing into your life. And this high-powered, successful businesswoman, strong, not very touchy-feely, started to sob like a baby. She said, I can't believe it, Deborah. This is what I've been looking at. That's me, just sitting there, waiting and waiting. So I said, one of the best things that you can do is to really think about, hey, what do I want to bring into my life? What do I want my future to look like? And to choose a piece of artwork that actually symbolizes what you want to bring into your life. So she called me on the phone a couple of weeks later, and she said, you know, I went to all my artist friends, and one of them recommended this new artist that I really wasn't very familiar with, but he does these paintings of lovers. And she goes, and oh, I commissioned him to do one. You are not going to believe how beautiful this is. And I said, as long as it really speaks to you as to what you want to bring into your life, then I know that you made the right choice. So she buys the painting. It finally gets delivered, and it's in a carton on the floor. And hey, it's pretty amazing because it was that night her boyfriend came over and they had an all-out fight and totally ended it. Just broke up. And she called me on the phone and she said, he came over and it's over. And she's crying again like a baby. And I said, it's all gonna work out. And she goes to her super and she says, could you, just hang up this new piece of art for me? This is where I want it, in my bedroom, right opposite where I sleep, so I can see it. And he says, sure. He said, I'll put it up for you. And so he puts it up on the wall. And that night, she goes down to meet her girlfriends for dinner. She gets there, there's nobody there yet. She sits by the bar. The guy next to her buys her a drink. And before you know it, she's got not only the man that she's been looking for, ready to make a commitment, but she had a built-in family because he had a young daughter that wound up moving in with them. So these are really very, very powerful stories. And people ask me to share them all the time because while I'm doing the work, I know that it's positive and I know that it's good. And I know that there's 5,000 years of ancient history that tells us this is what you get when this is what you look at. And I just felt it was very important to share that with you, especially at this moment in history. So look around your house or look online and order something that really inspires you and makes you think about how inspired and grounded and calm and happy it makes you if you were to look at something that really projected everything that you want in your life to come to you. There is nothing that would make me happier than to hear your stories after you try to place a piece of art or photograph or something fabulous really on that wall that you look at a lot of your time. And this can be with business also. It can be an area where you are doing your work and every time you look up you see that picture and you go, yeah, that's where I want to be. I want to be on that beach. I want to hit that mountain. That means that prosperity is just flowing into my life. That health is flowing in, that everybody is healthy and happy and really feeling good. This is what I want in my life. And every time you look at that over and over and over again, you are going to get this inspiration, this knowing, and at this moment in time, maybe a feeling of calm, that you know that everything is going to be okay and everything that you ever wanted is just around the corner. So at this moment in time, as in all times, I wish you health, happiness, prosperity, and a calm, a knowing that everything's going to be okay. This is Debra Duneier from EcoChi, at the Park Loggia, and have a really great week, and I hope that you'll join us again. Bye-bye.